It's day 3, the midway point of the Vegas Shoot 2020. With 62 shooters clean after yesterday's Premier Championship Open class, only 35 remain. But not all archers who shoot a perfect 600 shoot a compound bow. Recurve world number 1 Brady Ellison did as well.
The difficulty?
It's such an incredibly difficult thing for a recurve archer to do.
I don't know if anyone's ever done it before in Vegas.
Since it's never been done until today, and how many people have tried, yeah, it's amazing.
Came out here and he's on, and it's just working well for him right now.
Won 300 and then to come back the next day and then do exactly the same thing.
I think it really just shows how much Brady's really pushing that record.
It was 1967 that Bob Bittner shot the first perfect 300 on the old PAA face, which would be on this face the 9-ring, okay? And that was, 5 arrows, 12 ends, 60 arrows. And it was kind of fun watching that, and then having watched Brady yesterday shoot the first perfect 300 on this target, which is the 10-ring. It's a completely different deal.
Recurve shooting a 300 is just a whole different ball game. I mean, what a lot of people don't realize is the scoring here in Vegas is exactly the same as what we score in World Archery as a recurve shooter. So we don't get, a different tournament format with added nerves. It's the same that we're used to shooting. But that means it's just as hard as what we're used to shooting. So that 300 is just as hard as a World Archery 300 for a recurve shooter.
When you're shooting a compound and release, you remove some of the difficulty in actually letting go of the string.
I see a lot of people tense up their release hand with a compound or relax it too much, and I think the same thing applies with your fingers. You really have to be consistent, a little change, and there you go, you're out of the 10-ring.
With the recurve, you don't have any magnification in your sight, so what you're looking at is a pin, and that pin is probably about the same size as the 10-ring, but it floats a bit. His sight could touch every edge of the yellow and still be aiming inside the 10. So you have to be comfortable with that optical illusion that your sight pin doesn't have to stay exactly in the middle and execute a good shot before anything else.
You're holding a lot more weight. So here's Brady pulling whatever it is, 47, 48 pounds, and holding it and shooting it and doing it that well, arrow after arrow after arrow. Right? And that's just the start.
So to do it twice, back-to-back days.
He's already 2/3 of the way there.
Nobody's ever done this. How's that working on your mental? And to be able to hold it together mentally.
Tomorrow's really going to be 99% mental. So I've seen it time and time again. Either that first end or that last end on the last day tends to get most people.
And to go out and shoot it with a recurve is both prestigious and unheard of. So you have to deal with all of those things. And those are the questions that are going to be in your head is, can I do this? And I think that the thing that makes Brady so incredible at archery is that question of, can I do this? He already has it answered, and he knows that, yes, I can.
The one thing Brady has going for him, his mental game is excellent. He shot world records in the past. He's had that group of people all, crowding around him. I think in one of the indoor World Cups when he set a world record, he had, video cameras taping that final 3 arrows. So he's used to that kind of pressure, and he thrives under it, I think.
I watched him. He was sitting close to one of my archers, and they were talking about arrow spline, and they were talking about all these things just like it was a practice round. So, he was very relaxed, and it was fun to watch.
So when Brady steps out tomorrow, I have no doubt that he'll be able to get it. It's if anyone else shot a 600, I would feel a lot less confident in them shooting a 900 because I don't think anybody has as good of a mental game as Brady.
I'm pretty sure if he gets that 900 belt buckle, that's never coming off.
Brady Ellison here, 7 a.m. line bright and early in the morning here in day 2 in Vegas. Just got my second 300 of the weekend. Hoping for one more tomorrow because I really, really want that 900 belt buckle. Yeah, I've been practicing a lot. I've been shooting good. I've been shooting a lot of them in practice. Today was a lot easier than yesterday's. And then hopefully tomorrow will be smooth and just hopefully just be able to roll through it.
Welcome everybody to our stage here on the floor of the 2020 Vegas shoot at the South Point Casino and Hotel. I'm sitting here, of course, with Matt Stutzman, the Armless Archer. Matt, thanks for being here. And first off, tell us how your weekend's going so far.
Well, thank you for having me. Weekend's not going as planned. I actually dropped 2 points the first day, my very first arrow. And then today, I changed some little bit of things around, but I still missed one.
Gotcha. So
But
three
it's okay.
down.
Yeah, it's okay.
So tell us, Matt, you've been shooting the Vegas shoot for years. I think you said you have 4 899s.
Yes.
Just missing that 900. What do you think is blocking you from the 900? You think it's mental? What can you do to get over that hump?
I think it's old age. Because when I got here, I realized that I can't see very good. Well, I mean, I knew I couldn't see, but it was a lot darker than I remembered and stuff.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
basically, right before I shot for score, I put in a new lens to try to help see things a little better, and I think I just got in my own head then after that.
Gotcha. So for those who haven't seen you before, you shoot the bow, you hold it up with your foot, draw back with your, oh, here we go. You can see up there on the big screen how you do that, and you actually activate it with your chin. So tell us about your sight picture. What are you seeing when you look down at that target?
You know, it's pretty amazing because even though it looks like I'm doing something completely unlike any normal archer, everything is still very much the same. So my sight picture, like today, how I was holding, my dot very rarely moved out of the 10 ring. It kind of just sat there and hovered in a really slow circle.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like, I'm imagining that's what an able-bodied archer like maybe Levi or Jesse would probably see.
Sure, yeah. Well, tell us about the mental work that you do, because this is the pressure cooker, this is the Vegas shoot, and as you've mentioned, you've got 4 899s. I guess that's got to stick in your head a little bit.
So when I first started, my very first big tournament was here.
Okay.
Like I just jumped right in, right? And I was told that if you want to be the best archer in the world, you have to win Vegas.
Okay.
Right? So I think I have this little mental thing on my head in my brain, because on my other 899s, I either missed my very first one or my very last one.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I've been working a lot more on mental training. It didn't show this training, but it's shown in other tournaments. So I one of these years I will make a shoot.
And you said that. You feel pretty confident. The 900 for Matt Stutzman is out there.
Absolutely. I'm chasing it, but it's not impossible.
Right. And so when you compete in a lot of different tournaments. You compete in the USATs. Currently, you're competing in the able-bodied division, even though you could compete in the para division. Talk about why you do that.
For me, it's all about challenging myself. Like I said, I want to be the best, right? I have so many idols out there that I look up to, and I want to be them or like them, right? To be them, you got to shoot against them. That's what makes you better. And so I feel like from the mental aspect of things, which is where I need the most help, you need to be in that situation as often as possible. So I try to make sure that every tournament I'm always against the best, no matter what.
Gotcha. Talk about the reception from the Archers. I know you're a big fan out there. You're a favorite of the Archers, but how do they receive you and when you're on the line with them?
You know, it's actually pretty awesome, to be honest with you, because they don't look at me as a guy without arms that's just out doing his thing, right? They legitimately see me as a competitor. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm not a sideshow, right? So that makes me feel amazing, because when I walk in to shoot a tournament, they're like, oh, Matt's here, so now they got to make sure they do what they do to make sure that, I don't, because if I'm on my game, then it's going to
I was going to say,
down.
in head-to-head matches, you've knocked enough of them out that they know, hey, I can't take this guy lightly.
Right. So I appreciate that a lot. I'm looked at as like a normal guy.
Awesome. Well, Matt, we thank you very much for being here. We certainly appreciate your time. And folks, what we're looking at here at the Vegas shoot, you get one target. It's got two different sides, 3-spot, single spot. Depending on how you're shooting is the one that you pick. Let's take a look at how these archers feel about the different targets at the Vegas shoot.
One cool thing about the Vegas shoot, the targets are double-sided. 3-spot, single spot, so anybody can choose what they want to shoot.
Single spot.
3 spots. 3 spot.
Single spot.
Single spot.
3 spot.
3 spot.
Anybody with scopes, bow hunter freestyle, they all shoot the 3-spot. All the amateurs, younger kids, sometimes shoot the single spot.
Single spot. Single spot.
Triple spot.
Single spot.
Triple spot.
3 spots so you don't hit your arrows. Single spot so you can score all your arrows.
More points for me.
Just to be safe. And it's a challenge.
Just more space for the arrows.
And keep my feet in the same spot for all 3 shots.
This is the reason why everybody comes to the Vegas shoot, is so everybody can shoot a 3-spot, single spot. It doesn't matter your capabilities. We can all have fun.
I'm down here on the floor of Championship Hall at the 2020 Vegas shoot, and I'm here with Jason J., who was out here competing just a few minutes ago. You saw a video of that. And Jason, you're shooting out here archery blind.
That's correct. And it's a great experience. I love the atmosphere and all the pressure, and as I'm told, all eyes are on me when I sight in, and definitely feel that pressure, but definitely having a lot of fun.
Tell me, so we have video of your setup, of how you aim and how you do what you do, but walk us through it, how your setup works and what it consists of.
Okay, so you can go to Home Depot for this. It's a architecture T-square cut in half, and then there's some machining parts, which I personally do not do by myself, but I have other people to do for me. And attached to that in the back are 2 foot locators, and that keeps my stance consistent with when I shoot. And then in the front, I have a tripod. It could be, I think it's a photography or videography type tripod in the front. And then you have plumbing O-rings attached to the bottom to secure the floor rig to the tripod itself. And then attached to the tripod pan head is kind of like some machining involved so that I would have, or it would hold a typical archery sight. So for me, I have a True Ball XL recurve sight because I noticed that the compound sight, there's not enough like leverage and windage. So with the recurve, I have enough to go up and down and adjust as I go.
And how are you aiming?
So I touch the back of my hand to a pinhead, which is kind of like the aperture for the recurve sight itself. So instead of having a recurve sight, I have like a, it's like a screw, and yeah, it's a screw. It's like a rounded screw. I touch the back of my hand to it, and from there, I just draw back, let it fly, and my visual assistant will tell me like where on the target my arrows go. I definitely hear the oohs and oh. I was like, I guess I did something right. And if my visual assistant doesn't say anything, I'm like, did I do something wrong? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, let's talk about now who you have helping you and what they're helping you with.
So James Pekka acts as my eyes. So I tell him the easiest way to spot for me is like you have the target, which is round, and just call out the color like white, black, blue, red. But instead of saying yellow, I tell him to say gold because it's easier to pronounce for me. And instead of telling me the score, just telling me like the clock face, like let's say like 1 o'clock red, then I can micro adjust on my rig, like the windage, like left, right, and then up and down.
So tell me about the reception that you get. I'm sure you get a lot of people coming up asking you questions like us. And tell me about the reception from the other archers out here.
I think the first time coming out to Vegas, the most interesting comments I've gotten are like, you are like the last guy I would think to come out to shoot archery. Like, I never thought a blind person would come out here and shoot, but here you are shooting better than some of the other people. So, hey, props to you. Keep on doing it. And yeah.
Well, I guess I should ask, how have you shot the last 2 days?
Yesterday was definitely nerve-wracking, and I was like sweating like a pig because I wore the wrong clothing. I realized, compression wear, hot like a sauna down here in the arena, no bueno. And today I got smart. I was like, okay, t-shirt, good, drink, stay hydrated, good, vitamins, yes. Do not practice before I come out and shoot.
Well, Jason, we are certainly proud to see you out here. It was awesome. We were wondering when you were setting up, what's that guy doing down there? But Congratulations to you, and hey, we'd like to see you here. Come to Vegas for years to come.
Thank you so much, and it was great talking to you.
What an incredible story there, Jason J. I can't even imagine shooting blind like that. Here I'm now sitting with Jesse Broadwater. We wanted to talk to you, Jesse. Here in about 2 hours, we're going to start the Indoor Archery World Series Finals. You won that 3 times in a row. Talk about how that fits into the overall framework of the Vegas shoot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's you're shooting a different target. You know, the compound shooters just have a little 10 ring in there, so the target's different. You have the max diameter arrow you can choose 23 size, and then it's head-to-head matches. So it's an entirely different format than Vegas, which kind of makes it unique. It's kind of cool to have 2 different formats in the same weekend under the same roof. So I always used it as just a, you know, if I shot good the first 2 days here in Vegas and thought I had a good chance of making the shoot off, I would always use the matches and if I made the final event as practice for the shoot off at Vegas. So it is good practice for that, and it's good practice just under pressure and everything.
Does it mess with you at all that like you're shooting 27s for the Vegas shoot, and then as you said, you got to switch to 23s, different look of the target, the lighting's different. You do it tonight, Saturday night. Tomorrow's your big round for the Vegas shoot to make it to the 900.
Right.
How do you manage all that?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get lucky, just with your setup, and you're able to switch over to 23s from your big arrows pretty easily and not have to do any tuning, just maybe a little bit of a sight adjustment, and you can just kind of remember where your sight was for your big arrows and go back to them the next day. But some people just shoot 23s for everything, and the people that do that maybe have a little bit of an advantage sometimes because they don't have to change anything.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a management thing, going from one to the other.
The Vegas shoot is the biggest shoot in the world. That's the ultimate prize that you want to win. You've won it before. But what does it mean to win the Indoor Archery World Series Finals here?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, it's you're shooting off against the best of the best, and you have to go to a few qualifying events to get here, and then you have to shoot good here. So it's a lot of arrows, and after all these arrows fall, I mean, it's the best of the best is what you're shooting against. So if you can make the final here at one of these events, you're on top of your game, and if you win, you're definitely, you're the best archer over that long span of time, So it's a pretty impressive feat to conquer. I would say, probably as tough as winning the Vegas shoot. So.
Right. Now the lighting is completely different for the Indoor Archery World Series Finals than it is from the Vegas shoot.
Right.
So you probably don't get the little extra edge there of learning what it's going to be like the next day.
Yeah, well that's the thing. Like we have a practice room, but it's always, the lighting's always different from a practice room to another room, and especially with the World Archery stuff, it's like they spotlight you and everything.
Yeah.
So it usually takes 1 or 2 sighter shots to get sighted in, so it's definitely different, but it's fun being up on a stage, spotlight only on you. You got the crowd into it and everything.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome feeling. You get to have a coach. One year I had my wife as a coach, and
nice.
I went back. I get back sometimes and watch the video and show people the video, and I can see she's nervous, more nervous than me, in the coach's box than I am out there. She's handing me her water and she's shaking, and I'm like, "You all right?" So yeah, it's pretty cool though. I enjoyed it. I look to probably shooting them again here in the future. I do kind of miss it.
Yeah.
It just kind of hasn't worked out schedule-wise the past couple of years, but I definitely want to get back into it.
We should mention you're clean so far this weekend. You shot the 600. Tomorrow you're going into the last round. How you feeling about day 3 tomorrow?
I feel good. I mean, physically, mentally, I think I'm in the right spot. Yesterday I kind of wasn't hitting the middle like I felt that I should have been, but I just kind of focused on the positives. So I'm like, well, at least I feel good and everything. I'm not nervous. I'm not amped up. So I'm just gonna, just ride out the day, see how it goes. And today I kind of started out the same way I left off, but I finished out pretty strong. So I feel good about it. But Vegas is Vegas. Who knows? Take it day by day. Vegas is like the easiest format, technically the most easiest. It's 30 arrows a day for 3 days. You just have to hit the Big Ten, but it's all between your ears. You know, if you don't let the demons creep in, you know, you can stay out of your own way. You know, you'll make the shoot off at the end, and that's my goal every year, is just to make the shoot off, and you know, whatever happens from there on out, I'm good with. So.
All right, Jesse, well, we certainly appreciate your time tonight. We wish you the best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Folks, thanks for being with us here again tonight. We're going to start in about 2 hours, as we mentioned, for the Indoor Archery World Series. World Archery is going to be broadcasting that live. We're here at the 2020 Vegas Shoot, South Point Casino and Hotel. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow.